Hello dear friends. It is said that fiction films are a reflection of reality, and that could apply in this case. Opinion piece. The man with the golden gun. China gave its gold to the Fed when it was invaded by Japan. But that gold was never returned to its rightful owners. The Fed gave China bones called golden pistols. These bones are engraved with Anunnaki cuneiform characters. This proves that currency realignment is not a fairy tale. Gold purchases shine again on the world's central banks. Hundreds of supermarkets paralyzed in Sweden by a major cyber attack. Tropical Storm Elsa makes landfall in Bay of Pigs on its way to Florida. Incredible number of shootings in Chicago and New York over the weekend. Elon Musk to test his Starlink satellite internet network in 2 Chilean towns. Raffaella Carra dies at 78. Spanish journalist Tico Medina at 86. Sun records largest solar flare since 2017 triggers brief radio blackout. Let's start. The Man with the Golden Gun is installment number 9 in the James Bond saga, and the second to star Roger Moore as fictional MI6 agent James Bond. It is a loose adaptation of Ian Fleming's novel of the same name, published in 1965. In the film, this man is a contract killer named Francisco Scaramanga, who ends up in a duel to death with the agent 007 on Her Majesty's Secret Service. Also, The Man with the Golden Guns, Warlock, is a classic film of the Western year, produced and directed by Edward Dmytryk in 1959, based on a novel by Oakley Hall. The film stars Richard Widmark, Henry Fonda, and Anthony Quinn. Guns of Gold. But every movie reflects a reality, because precisely the golden guns or the gold are the bonds that the Federal Reserve gave to China for its gold. Gold-plated boxes that the Fed gave to China for its bullion in exchange for keeping it for them after being invaded by the Japanese. But they never gave it back. What the non-communist Chinese who own the old have are gold and platinum guns that represent real and returned assets. The story of these assets begins in China after the Fed took a certain amount of gold from China. The Chinese asked for a guarantee that their deposit in metallic gold would not be lost, but since they didn't trust the Fed, they asked for a guarantee from the heads of the Fed, from those above them. It is to say, the Anunnaki themselves. And this wrote a contract engraved in cuneiform characters written on the gold. The Chinese knew and know the Anunnaki overlords very well, because they worked for them collecting gold throughout mining since the early Chinese dynasties, and so they demanded the overlords to back their assets. After the Feds placed evidence of such backing in their cuneiform language, only then did the Chinese turn over their assets, and these gold and platinum pistol boxes were issued as backing for the gold delivered by the Chinese to the Fed. Big brothers. When we talk about the existence of big brothers, we should know that their existence is real, and that we have not turned up anything that we shouldn't know about. The information had always been hidden and has been meticulously handled to conceal the whole truth. But this will come out, not in a full disclosure, but in continuous trickle, until we can have acceptance of it. This is why I mentioned in other videos that what we are living is so great that many are concerned only about money, but the background is another. Money is only the means, and eventually it will disappear. The goal is the evolution of consciousness. We should look at the whole map of all geopolitical events and not focus on isolated convenient events. This shows that currency realignment is not a fairy tale, but is something very real that will manifest in due time with very real evidence. But this process is not made for the impatient, because it follows a divine timetable and not a human timetable. Gold rises. Gold rises, dollar weakens. Gold rose Monday morning in Asia, boosted by a weaker dollar. The latest jobs report also calmed investor fears of an earlier than expected interest rate hike. Gold shines again on central banks. Central banks may be regaining their appetite for buying gold after staying on the sidelines over the past year. Central banks from Serbia to Thailand have added to gold holdings, with Ghana recently announcing plans to buy as the specter of accelerating inflation looms, and a recovery in global trade provides firepower to make purchases. The dollar weakened in early European trading Monday, giving back some of its recent gains after Friday's non-farm payrolls report eased concerns about an early move by the Fed to curb its accommodative monetary policy. Global stocks cling near record highs. Global stocks held near record highs on Monday on positive sentiment from a rising Eurozone trading activity and a positive US jobs report. Oil prices accelerate higher. Oil prices rose on Monday, driven higher after OPEC nations suspended talks on production levels, meaning no deal to boost output has been agreed. Brent price rises above $77 per barrel for first time since October 2018. Brent oil prices rose above $77 per barrel for the first time since October 30, 2018, according to the stock market data. The growth of oil prices accelerated after the cancellation of a meeting of the OPEC alliance scheduled for this July 5th. Venezuelan oil exports soared. Venezuela's oil exports increased by 66% in June compared to last year's figures. The crude has been moved throughout transshipments from Malaysia, which have boosted shipments to Asia. OPEC abandons oil policy meeting after clash between Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates. OPEC ministers suspended oil production talks on Monday after clashing last week, with the United Arab Emirates rejected the proposed 8-month extension to output curbs, meaning no deal to boost production has been agreed. Economic rivalry. The rare public disagreement between the United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia over OPEC policy points to a growing economic rivalry between the two largest Arab economies that looks set to intensify, several regional analysts said. Cyber attacks. Hundreds of Swedish supermarkets remain in chaos after a ransomware cyber attack. For the third day in a row, Swedish supermarket chain Coop has kept many of its stores closed, victims of an unprecedented ransomware cyber attack. Following a cyber attack, one of Sweden's largest supermarket chains said it had temporarily closed around 8,000 stores. The ransomware attack that took down Sweden's second largest supermarket chain last week demonstrated once again how vulnerable advanced economies are. In May, another ransomware attack disabled Colonial Pipeline, which transports 45% of the oil consumed to the US East Coast. Hackers behind cyber attack demand to $50 million. Hackers who claimed responsibility for an international ransomware outbreak lowered their asking price in a private conversation with a cybersecurity expert, something that could be a sign the group was having trouble monetizing its massive breach. Elon Musk to test Starlink satellite internet network in two remote Chilean towns, villages. South African billionaire Elon Musk will test his Starlink satellite internet network service for a year in two remote and disconnected villages in Chile, thanks to a deal announced on Monday by the Chilean government. Short news. Etherlite price soars. The price of Etherlite coin has skyrocketed in recent days. The spike came after the cryptocurrency began trading on cryptocurrency exchanges. U.S. Embassy Baghdad's anti-missile system intercepted 3 rockets. The Sea-Ram anti-missile system at the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad intercepted and destroyed 3 Katyusha-type rockets targeting U.S. facilities on Monday, destroying them as they flew over the facility, causing no injuries, fortunately. Incredible number of shootings in Chicago and New York over the 4th of July weekend. Every 4th of July weekend, police in Chicago brace for a spike in violence, even more than usual, when typical weekends average around 40 shootings, and this holiday weekend was no different, easily registering as the deadliest and most violent this year, given the total death count. New York City has also witnessed a steady increase in shootings and seemingly random violence, including brazen acts committed in broad daylight in high-traffic areas, such as murdering wounded in Times Square from. On Monday, the Chicago Sun-Times recorded 92 people shot over the long 4th of July weekend, with 16 killed. The death toll is the highest for a weekend in all 2021. Of the 92 shooting incidents, 76 were considered serious enough for hospital treatment, including 6 children and teenagers, according to Chicago police. Tropical Storm Elsa makes landfall in Cuba on its way to Florida. Tropical Storm Elsa made landfall near Cuba's south-central coast near the Bay of Pigs, Bahía de Cochinos, on Monday, and began making its way across the island nation toward Florida after causing 3 deaths elsewhere in the Caribbean. Tajikistan calls its residents to reinforce border as Afghan troops fleeing Taliban seek refuge. Tajikistan's President on Monday ordered the mobilization of 20,000 military reservists to reinforce the border with Afghanistan after more than 1,000 Afghan security personnel fled across the border in response to the Taliban military advance. Europe doesn't believe in carbon tax. The European Union faces an uphill battle to convince trading partners that the world's first ever levy on carbon imports is a necessary part of the bloc's attempt at the green revolution rather than a protectionist tool. Eurozone yields rise. Eurozone's government bond yields rose Monday, but analysts expect a resumption of the recent downward trajectory after the last week's payrolls and data failed to tempt investors away from the safety of fixed income. Raffaella Carra dies at 78. Raffaella Carra, one of Italy's best-loved singers and TV presenters who became almost as famous as a symbol of sexual liberation in Spain and South America as in her own country, died Monday at 78. She was a great lady, much loved by the public for her sympathy, education and sense of humor. May she rest in peace. Farewell to Tico Medina, legend of journalism in Spain. Veteran journalist Tico Medina, a legend of journalism in Spain with an extensive career in radio, television and written press, has died at the age of 86. He received awards such as the Ondas Prize and the Gold Medal for Merit in Work. Escolástico Medina from Granada, whom everyone knew as Tico, worked in the program 300 millones, 300 millions, was head of reporters in the newspaper ABC, and the first correspondent of Televisión Española in America, Spanish television in America. Author of some 20 books, Medina interviewed historical figures such as Salvador Dalí, Lola Flores, Fidel Castro or Che Guevara. The sun records the largest eruption since 2017. By surprise, the sun recorded this July 3rd the largest eruption since 2017, evidence of a reactivation of the 11-year cycle of our star. The solar flare came from a sunspot at 4030 and was recorded as a powerful X1 class solar event, according to the US Space Weather Prediction Center, which tracks the sun's weather. It caused a brief radio blackout on Earth. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.